All right, so welcome back. I am in a new place. Finally, have set up, kind of. Still got some things to work on, but I wanted to bring another episode of the Thank You Bro Pod. Once again, Ryan is not here. I feel like this is a regular occurrence now. Ryan doesn't watch or listen to these anyways, so he won't know I'm talking anything about him. So someone needs to get on Ryan's case. If anyone hears this, anyone at all, get on Ryan's case, please, for my sake. All right. So, anyways, ignore the clear and obvious sunburn. I went out golfing. I have golf class this semester. Fun, but I got sunburned again. Don't wear a backwards hat on the course, obviously. This has happened so many times to me in the past. So I don't know why I can't learn from my mistakes. Anyways, with that being said, let's roll right into the show. Okay, so football is back, and more specifically, college football, because that we've actually had games this time around, college football. And the game I want to talk about the most was the Colorado TCU game, which was one of the most fun games I've ever watched. Deion Sanders did absolutely another Deion Sanders masterclass. I know the defense was really not up to par, but I feel like that's just a Big 12 game for you. TCU does have the best defense in the Big 12, so the fact they got dismantled by by Sanders and Travis Hunter was kind of shocking. Honestly, I didn't think they were going to put up that much of a scoring output, I guess you can say. Colorado, exciting team to watch. Should they be ranked? Probably not. I don't think Colorado should be ranked right now. They got ranked at 24, I think, so they're kind of overrated already. But it's a great story to watch, and of course, you have the Heisman watch, which I'll talk about in a minute. I do. Speaking of overrated teams, I want to discuss overrated teams because we had three major upsets, if you may, including a fourth one, but it wasn't really major because the team wasn't ranked. But first one, of course, was Clemson getting absolutely dominated by Duke. Clemson's not a good team. They haven't been for a while, and for some reason, I don't know why not teams, I don't know why voters keep trying to push the Clemson is good narrative. They're not. I don't think Dabo Swinney is a very good coach. I think he was carried on the backs of the likes of Deshaun Watson, for example. I don't think he's a very good. He wasn't good before Watson, and he really wasn't good after. If you think about it, he was for a little bit. He was, but I don't know. I think Clemson's been overrated for so long now. It's about time they got the recognition they deserved, which was that of being overrated. Another overrated team. I don't think LSU is that good. They get absolutely boat raced. I know it was at Florida State, but you can't lose that bad. As an SEC team, you can't lose by multiple touchdowns to an ACC team that wasn't really even good last year. They were okay if my memory serves me right, but they were not good. And then lastly, another Big 12 disaster class this past weekend, with Texas Tech losing to Wyoming, and then Baylor losing to Texas State. Two absolute meltdowns for both Big 12 programs. And I don't really know where these teams go from here. Um, Texas Tech hasn't hit their floor yet, and I think their floor is a 3-win season. I don't think Tech's good at all. And they really proved it by, I mean, just terrible coaching decisions when they faced up against Wyoming. So we'll see. Baylor has one more chance to redeem themselves. They got Utah coming to town. Utah by 20 plus. Honestly, sorry Baylor Bear fans. Baylor sucks, and it's about time they went back to where they were before RG3. So I don't know what else to tell y'all. Big 12 football. We're about to find out what it's made of this week. A lot of Big 12 plays Utah, of course. Texas and Alabama, huge game. I'll consider it a win for Texas if they can win by less, or they lose by less than 10. I think that's huge in Bryant Denny. But honestly, I think Alabama by two touchdowns, at least. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about the Big 12. Maybe they can prove me. Maybe they prove me wrong. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not impressed, and I'm really not impressed. I haven't really seen anyone. Of course, Georgia's played, their cupcake schools. They always do. No one's impressed me so far, really, besides Colorado. But I'm kind of on that Dion train, so I want to keep riding it. So now we're gonna hop in right into the Heisman watch. Speaking of Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, um, of course, we have our front runners, which are Caleb Williams. Cardinals are trying their hardest to tank for him. He's not gonna leave if the Cardinals finish last, honestly. So tough luck, Arizona. Sorry, you're not getting Caleb Williams. I don't know what else to tell you. It's and why would you want Caleb Williams? I still like Kyler Murray. I still think he's a good quarterback. I just don't think the coaching is coaching him right. So we'll see how it goes. But right now, Caleb Williams, clear and obvious front runner. Penix Jr. played fantastic. I have stats here: dominated Boise State, 450 yards, 5 touchdowns. Absolute offensive masterclass, if you may, from Penix Jr. So watch out. He's not incredibly close second, but he's somewhat close second. And then of course you have your dark horses in Colorado. I never get this name right. Shedeur Sanders. I'm so sorry if I botched that up. And then obviously Travis Hunter, who plays amazing on both sides of the ball, and we saw that this weekend. He played over 80% of the snaps, which is crazy to think about, especially in this day and age when there's kind of minutes restrictions, snaps restrictions. There's the right term. So I would love those are some fun bets if you're a betting person. Those are some fun bets to maybe place $10 on a Sanders or Hunter Heisman winner. I think it doesn't hurt anyone. So. Anyways, that's my college update. And of course, we're going to have more of that when the games commence this weekend. I'm trying to figure, really, Nebraska and Colorado play this weekend. Nebraska's going to get wiped out. Nebraska's not a good team. Colorado's only favored by 3, so get those bets in now, those alt spreads. Colorado by at least 10. And then you got Ole Miss and Tulane. That might be a good one. Tulane's sneaky good. They got to play against a pretty solid SEC team, but you never know. Texas A&M goes to Miami, Hard Rock Stadium. A&M's favored by 4. I think Miami comes out and wins that one. That's that's kind of my bet, but I'm kind of an A&M hater. So besides that, Oregon goes to Lubbock to play Texas Tech. Oregon by 50, if you may. It's not even going to be close. And then Stanford and USC, a Pac-12 team will lose this weekend. Don't worry. It's not what you think. The Pac-12 is still not good at football, but they have a few good representatives. So Stanford will lose in the Coliseum this weekend, and Caleb Williams will have another Heisman moment probably. So that wraps up my college football, and now let's head over to the NFL slate. We have a lot of things to cover in the NFL, and I'm still trying to kind of get used to talking about NFL because I really haven't been on the NFL train the past few seasons. I was in 21, obviously, as a Rams fan, but last year was rough, and this year is going to be worse. But it's okay because I've decided I'm not going to be a bandwagon fan, and I'm just going to be a fan of the whole game itself. So bear with me as I feel around the NFL landscape as well. I want to start on injury updates. Travis Kelce or Kelsey, correct pronunciation's Kels, but tomato from the source. So Kelce, he probably won't play. He's got, from this time of recording, he's got about 20 hours to get that knee right. I hope he does because he's on a lot of my fantasy teams. But it's not looking good. But Patrick Mahomes will be Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City by a touchdown at least against Detroit. Detroit's a decent team, but they're not moving me. Detroit's not moving me. But yeah, that's on NBC. That's gonna be a fun game. I'm gonna be watching it. I'm gonna get into it. No betting. Not a betting man, okay? But hopefully Kels does play though. That would be fun to see. Him and Mahomes just dominating as they always do, and they have for the last 6-7 years. And Chiefs by a mile. Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl this year. There's my prediction right there. I'm not going to predict anything else on the season besides Chiefs winning the Super Bowl and the Rams going probably 5-12. I think that's a safe bet. 5-12. So speaking of the Rams, Cooper Kupp update. He's out for this weekend. Absolute pain and agony, considering I have him on pretty much all my fantasy teams. Even though I originally tried to avoid him, it seems like my draft pick in my fantasy draft always lined up with Kupp, and I felt like I had to take him, or else what would Folgers in my cup, my team name, even what would be the point? So Cooper Kupp's out again, and it looks like he might be out multiple weeks depending on how this hamstring heals up. And then also updates on Jerry Jeudy, who's still questionable, and George Kittle's also questionable. Those are probably more likely to play. Those guys are. Once again, for fantasy's sake, we all hope they do because those guys are electric and they bring a lot of points to my fake imaginary team. So look out for those two. They will probably play. Hope they do, and we hope that everyone recovers quickly so we can have a healthy and fun season to watch. Honestly, because football's its best when its stars are healthy. So I want to move on to bets since we're kind of already talking about fantasy. I have some bets for the Thursday through Monday slate. First, obviously, like I said before, Kansas City is only a 4.5 favorite. Kansas City clears. All right, Kansas City will win by 7+. So I take Kansas City there. I don't know what the odds. I just know what the line is. Then next, I have Rams at Seattle. Seattle by 5.5. That's not even going to be close. Seattle's probably going to win by 2 touchdowns at least. The Rams offense is, unless Stafford proves me wrong. Stafford's proved me wrong in the past, so maybe Stafford proves me wrong again. But as of right now, Seahawks by 5.5. That's an easy lock. I'm going to put that my first lock of the day. And I would only lock in Kansas City 4.5, but that's pretty close to a lock. That's like a 90%. And then my second lock of the day is Cincinnati 2.5. The Cleveland Browns are not good. I'm sorry. Just because Deshaun Watson has returned from his long-awaited absence, they are still not good. He did not impress me last year. He will not impress me this year. And quite frankly, the Bengals are all around are just a better team. I mean, their defense is going to lock that team down. So Bengals 2.5, that just seems like free money, in my opinion. So I'd hammer that one. Bengals 2.5. That's a field goal, guys. I mean, even if they win on a game-winning field goal, you still cover. So lock that one in. That's a lock. And then lastly, Broncos country, baby. Let's ride. Broncos Raiders. Broncos 3.5. That's a lock. I'm locking it in now. Russell Wilson is back. I almost said Russell Westbrook. I'm still in the basketball mode. Russell Wilson is back. Sean Payton knows what he's doing. Do not sleep on the Denver Broncos. That is a good team. All right. Speaking of the Denver Broncos, I want to go to my fantasy players to watch. They might be on the waiver wire. I know one of these players is not on the waiver wire, but the other 3 are that I'm about to name. Since I was talking about the Broncos, let's just go with Russell Wilson first. Sean Payton knows how to run an offense. So Russell Wilson, he has got his shit together, and he will deliver a fantastic, at least 20-point performance if you're playing PPR. At least a 20-point performance this weekend. Without a shadow of a doubt, Russell Wilson, if you don't have a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts type player, or Lamar Jackson type player, because Joe Burrow might be iffy this week, but even him, if you don't have one of those guys and you're in a 10, 12-man league, pick up Russell Wilson. He's going to be playing well, and he will be gone by week 2. I promise you, he'll be gone by week 2. Also on Broncos country is Javonte Williams. Sean Payton has already said that he's looked great after his, I think his ACL and MCL injury. And Sean Payton's going to use him a lot, is what he said. So let's see what Coach Payton comes up with. But Javonte Williams, he's kind of been looking at the bench running back so far. Put him in your RB2. I think he's gonna play out well. If you have 2 good running backs, go to your flex. I know if you got 2 good running backs, I know you don't have 2 good receivers. So put him in your flex. Do something with it. Javonte Williams will play well this week. At least a 14-point performance. I'm hoping because I have him in a lot of my leagues. Because I drafted 4 receivers and 1 half-decent running back, and then Javonte Williams. But Javonte Williams is a good running back. Take it to the bank. All right, next. These are two Rams, and I said three of them were waivers, and one was a starter. The starter's Cam Akers. Since Cup's out, I can't imagine. I really can't imagine Sean McVay expanding the passing game. So he's probably going to go on the ground more. The only person I see getting more targets is Van Jefferson, maybe Tyler Higbee. Besides that, and Jefferson is my other waiver wire pickup because Cup is out. But I think they're going to go on the ground more. So if you have Cam Akers, start him. Make sure he's starting. He's going to go off He's going to go off on Sunday, I believe. Yeah, Sunday he's going to go off. They will lose, but he will have a good game. He'll probably get a touchdown, and then the final score will be like 7-30, and so that's okay. So pick up those guys, and that's all I have for football this week. I'm excited for it though. Excuse me. Water break, real quick. Sponsored by Ozarka. Just kidding, it's not. But Ozarka, if you see this, go ahead. Shoot me an email. I'm not gonna. I was about to reveal my email, but I decided I'm not gonna do that. All right, moving on to my sport, and the sport that most of my friends want to listen to me talk about, baseball. And it's been something. This season has been highs and lows. Me as a Cardinals fan, obviously, a lot more lows than highs. But at least I'm not a Rangers fan because the Rangers are throwing yet again. I think the Rangers historically have the most choke jobs in MLB history. I mean, you date back to, 2011, 2015 in Toronto. I mean, you got now they had a huge lead in the West and decided they didn't want to play anymore. And so now they're losing so many games. In their last 20, they're 6-14. The worst ERA behind the Rockies, I believe, with a 5.6 ERA. They have 10 blown saves in 20 games. So in their last 20, they've blown 10 of those and lost all of them. I mean, all except one, Adolis Garcia walk-off home run. That was pretty sick. Besides that, their offense isn't doing that bad. Their pitching's horrible. And as of this recording at 9:45, they are losing 12-3 to Houston yet again. If you go back to Tuesday, September 5th, they lost 14-1. And then Monday, they lose 13-6. Now, let me calculate this real quick. Bear with me 1 second. 1 second. Bear with me here. So if you give up 13 runs in game one. You give up, where are we at? Where are there? 14 runs in game two. And now the game's not even over yet. The Astros still have a chance to score again. 12 so far. In the last 3 games, they've given up 39 runs and have scored 10. They're getting outscored 39-10 this series. Is that correct math? That is correct math. That is historically bad for a team that was in first place not so long ago. Texas, figure it out, because I do not want to be going to class with a bunch of crying Rangers fans. St. Louis has already had it bad enough, so let's just figure it out. Let's get to the playoffs, and then let's lose in the wild card series, and then just don't talk about it again. Okay, cool. I think that's a great deal. Speaking of historic feats, I should say, the Yankees historic fall off. They were first place a few months ago. Now they're in last, and now they look like St. Louis. I think St. Louis and the Yankees are the greatest mid-off in history. But yeah. Also, their last 20 games, which they've been playing a little better. They're 9-11. Their pitching is great. I think they're the top 2 in baseball in pitching the last 20 games, which really sucks because they're only hitting 200 with a 280 on base percentage. Now, I'm no genius, but that's pretty bad. They have a 28% strikeout rate. That's historically bad for a 20-game stretch. And they have an 89 weighted runs created plus, which actually isn't that bad considering they're not getting on base and they're striking out a lot, which means they're the 3 natural outcomes in baseball. That is the home run, the walk, and the strikeout. Those are the 3 pure outcomes. Everything else is variable. You know, they were literally a home run or die team. They're fifth in baseball in home runs in the last 20 games. Excuse me, okay, we're back. They are they're fifth in like home runs and they're last in RBIs. I don't know how to spot. They're not getting on base. They're simply hitting home runs. That's it. They go up to they go up to the plate, no approach, swing as hard as you can, hit one to the short porch, boom. That's it. They lose 3-1. I mean 3-2 because their pitching's doing well and they're just not scoring. Them and St. Louis, just two teams on paper that look fantastic and just absolutely shit the bed this year. Very disappointing. Yankees never fail to disappoint. They haven't been good since 2009. Stop saying that, oh, well, we lost to the Astros in 19 because they were cheating. No, you lost to the Astros in 19 because Aroldis Chapman doesn't know how to close a game. You go back to 2016, he didn't know how to do it. You go back to 19, he didn't know how to do it. Now he's blown games for the Rangers, ironically enough. Stop putting Aroldis Chapman. This is completely, I did not have this written down. Excuse me. Stop putting Aroldis Chapman in save situations. He is a seventh inning pitcher. That's it. Give him some holds and then let him go to the showers and piss off, okay? Aroldis Chapman is not a good closer. I don't have the numbers, but I know he probably leads active players in blown saves. Him or Kimbrel. I've seen Craig Kimbrel blow a lot of games. Okay, moving on. Let's get through this. As of this recording, and actually, they won 11-6 today. St. Louis is playing spoiler. Now, of course, playing spoiler to what, you may ask? They're playing Atlanta. They're not spoiling anything. Well, Spencer Strider is not on a good stride. Not on his best stride. And then St. Louis just tacked on 7 runs to his ERA already. So now Spencer Strider is looking at near a 4 ERA. He pretty much just knocked himself out of the Cy Young contention. He's not winning the Cy Young anymore, especially his last few starts. He completely blew it, and St. Louis kind of just put the nail in his coffin. So there's spoiler number 1. And I will talk about St. Louis spoilers a little later when I get into the playoff picture. But I just think it's funny that Cardinals play their best baseball when it doesn't matter. And so that's really fun and exciting as a Cardinals fan and mildly frustrating. So, but anyways, Cardinals win 10-6 against Atlanta, and then they won 11-6 today. Obviously, pitching is not a strength of either team. Clearly, I know the Cardinals have a very good offense, but Braves, don't be allowing 21 runs in 2 games against the worst team in the National League Central. So, that mini rant aside, let's get into the playoff picture. I have some notes down, so I'm going to be kind of looking off to the side. And we'll get through this, and then I will let y'all go. Okay. My first note. So, and let me pull up the schedule real quick, just to reaffirm myself. So, Baltimore and Tampa Bay, obviously fighting for the first seed in the American League. I think this is Baltimore's league to lose. Tampa Bay, They've gotten better recently. They had a really big slump around July, but they're kind of back. So, but I still think Baltimore's been the more consistent team throughout the season. And I know baseball is all about like who got hot at what time, but Baltimore's been consistent. And so you have to reward consistency with a number 1 seed, I believe. And not saying you have to, it's like they have a choice, but I think Baltimore will come out with the number 1 seed, which unfortunately the second best record in the American League is going to have to play a wild card series, which I really think is broken, which that means that aside real quick, abolish divisions in terms of seeding. Keep the divisions for games. I think divisions keep rivalries intact, but when you go to seeding, get rid of it. I absolutely hate it in seeding. Makes no sense. It should go by record. That's it. Of course, I do believe winners of the division should get a spot. That's the only exception I have because, I mean, right now, Minnesota, who's leading the the American League Central, would not make the playoffs had this season ended today, and they will win the Central. So let division winners have their spot. That's it. Everything else, put it down in order, okay? Um, moving on, I already talked about the Twins. I kind of skipped the point, but whatever. Seattle's cooling off. They're 5-5 now in their last 10. They still look pretty good. They still figured it out. They're not playing the best against better than 500 teams. They're still going to make the playoffs. Their near historic run kind of. There's been a lot of historic runs, bad and positive and negative in baseball this year. Seattle's was a positive one, and that really bolstered them to a top spot in the American League. They're not going to hold on to it because obviously Houston has proven that they're still the best team in the American League, I think. I said Baltimore is the more consistent team. Houston's the best team, led by, and Altuve's getting hot now. They have Verlander back, just things like that. And Houston kind of just coasts their way onto the playoffs, and then they hit the gas. So Houston, they're my World Series pick again. Unfortunately, they are. I was really hoping the Rangers would figure it out, but it looks like the Rangers are going to probably fall out of the playoffs at this rate. They're not playing well at all. 4-6, like I said, they're 4 and what did I say? They're 6-14 in their last 20. That's ridiculous. And now they're actually 6-15 in their last 21 since they lost just now. So Texas, real shame. I was rooting for you all the way. It looks like Toronto will be taking your spot in the postseason. Ironically enough, the team that the Rangers hate the most outside of the division is taking their final playoff spot. So good job, Texas. Cope. Moving on to the National League playoff picture. Now, this one is a little more interesting because there are a lot of teams that could really make an impactful run in October. One, of course, being the Braves. I'm not worried about the Braves. I know they're kind of struggling. Just get out of the St. Louis series. Once you get out of the Cardinals series, you're fine. Your next, I don't even know who your next opponent is, but I know they're not going to. They don't have the same vengeance. Yeah, the Pirates. Yeah. Ooh, scary. So yeah, does it go backwards? Okay, cool. Just get out of the St. Louis series, go sweep Pittsburgh, back on track. Not worried about Atlanta. Best team in the National League. It's not even close. I mean, they have one of the best offenses ever, which is crazy. Plus 230 run differential as well. Absolutely insane. So Braves fans, don't worry that you're kind of slumping against Cardinals. St. Louis has nothing to lose. They're just trying anything possible to tack on a few games. They got 8. They got their magic number is 8, and they're almost done. They're almost to bed. You almost put St. Louis to bed before September, 15th? Impressive, not going to lie. Anyways, Dodgers treading water. They don't look good. They're 1-5 in their last 6 and just lost 4-11 to a lightning hot. That's not right. Lightning fast. I don't even know, a scorching hot Miami Marlins team. Marlins are doing everything right on a 7-game win streak now. Dodgers fans, it is a little cause for concern because if you play like this in the postseason, you're gonna be out. You're gonna be out in the NLDS, and that will be a Philadelphia team playing you. And Philadelphia is kind of finding their stride, led by Trey Turner, ironically enough, who has not been playing well up until the last month. So Philly, once again, I always slam my head on my desk when I read Philly's coming back and they look good because this could be the same Philly team that was last year and go to the World Series. You never know. I'd never put a team led by Bryce Harper out of contention, is what I've learned. So, and obviously, last on my notes here, a tight National League Central mid-off. What do I mean by that? First, second, and third are all separated by 5 games, excuse me. And the leader has 77 wins this late in the year. Your most average National League Central race is just a bunch of mid-baseball, and then one team turns it on at the final, in the final weeks. And that looks like the Cubs right now. But I'm not a Cubs truther just yet. I need at least a few more weeks before I can be comfortable enough with giving the Cubs the division to the Brewers. That'll be a game that goes into the final series and ultimately will be decided by the St. Louis Cardinals. They play these teams a hell of a lot of times in the next few weeks. They have the Brewers 7 times. And then actually, they don't play the Cubs again. So Cardinals can only play spoiler to the Brewers and the Reds. The Reds are also in contention. Don't count out the Reds just yet. But they have to play St. Louis 6 more times, and the Brewers have to play St. Louis 7 more times. And St. Louis is kind of getting a little hot for a last place team. They have nothing to lose. They're pissed. Their MVPs are very unhappy right now. Don't blame them. This is not how the season was supposed to go for them. Watch out if you're the Brewers or the Reds. They could really mess up your entire postseason outlook. But with that being said, I have Braves, Dodgers, Brewers. Those are your division winners. Philly wildcard 1. Miami will be wildcard 2. Chicago wildcard 3. Everything's up in the air. I have Braves going to the LCS at least. I don't know with the Dodgers anymore. They're really not. They're not moving me. And unfortunately, the Diamondbacks really just hit a wall. I was really looking forward to the Diamondbacks maybe making a postseason push. They're one piece away. I really think they're just one offensive piece away. And I honestly haven't checked the free agency, but I know that the Arizona's close. They're not there yet. And so, with that, my notes are empty. Can you believe that? I am done. I have talked about what I wanted to talk, and I hope you didn't focus the whole video on my massive sunburn on my big forehead. I hope you got something out of this. I hope I want to hear your thoughts on socials. We got new branding, all that. Looking forward to it. Hopefully Ryan gets his head out of his ass. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I don't know what he's doing, really. So he's kind of treading water, just like the Dodgers. And also, Ryan thinks that the Red Sox still have a postseason chance. They don't. Red Sox are done. Worst defensive team in baseball. Nothing they do is inspiring. They suck, okay? They're just as bad as the Yankees. And somehow the Yankees are above 500, which I just now realized. This late in the season, every team in the AL East is above 500. That's impressive, considering every team in the AL Central is below except the Twins by 6 games. Ironic. All right. I hope y'all had a good time watching this, listening to this, wherever you're doing it, whatever you're doing. I hope you learned something, and I want to hear your thoughts, like I said before, on social media. At Thank You Bro Productions, I believe. At Thank You Bro Pod. All right. At Thank You Bro Pod on X, the new platform. Instagram is still my personal Instagram. I'm going to move that over later. And with that being said, I'm your host, Will Glover, and I hope y'all have a good night. See y'all.